Hi there, Natalie with you today to show you a fun technique to create customizable tags. A little bit of color and you can create these dip dye tags that can be ready at any time and for any occasion. So join me back. Welcome back to today's project. Like I mentioned before, today we're going to look at a fun and easy way to mass produce in reality tags for any occasion. So the base for my tags, it's going to be the Terrific die set. I love the different sizes and forms of tags, and what we're going to use to create this dip dyes is actually the watercolor refills, the little bottles for your watercolor brushes. We're going to use the refills to create the dye for the tags. Now the key here is to have good paper to create the look on the tag, and for that we're going to use the watercolor paper from Mountain Dew. I am using the 9x12 paper pad, the watercolor paper pad, just because I'm going to create, like I said before, I want to create quite a few of them while in one single session in a way. And this is actually a fun process that you can create on your own. You can create with your kids. It's fun. It's gonna be a little bit messy, and it's gonna take a while, but you can create a large amount of tags with just a little bit of the watercolor ink in this case. So what I'm gonna start doing is I have cut strips of the watercolor paper to be 2.5 inches wide, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my mini die cutting machine to cut all the tags. I am using the Terrific die set, and I want to use the big ones and the middle ones. I'm going to use the ones that have the little tips that looks like a banner, and I'm also going to cut the little flag ones because those are the ones that I'm going to use to add the names onto my tags. And I'm going to show you the technique, and I'm going to customize them to be holiday tags, Christmas. Unfortunately, here in Toronto, where I am right now, we're under lockdown, so that means that I won't see my family for Christmas, but I have bought their presents. I want to make sure they look nice when I go deliver them. So you're going to see that I've cut quite a few of them. I cut more. This is just what I'm going to show you in the camera. Now what I've done also outside of the camera is I have different containers with water. I'm going to say I have around 1/4 cup of water. You can have more. It's all completely up to you. And here's we're going to start coloring the water, and this is what is going to give color to our tags. For this I am using the watercolor brush marker refills. I'm using for the green emerald, and you're going to see that when I open it, because it's been closed for a while, it kind of just create a bubble of ink on my lid. So I just dip it in the water, and I'm just going to add I'm gonna say into this 1/4 cup I added 2 or 3 drops of the emerald, and this all it's gonna take. You can go deeper, it's completely up to you. I want to get to a soft kind of tealish green, minty, which is the color of my pattern paper for not pattern paper, sorry, my wrapping paper for this year. So you're gonna see that I have some of the leftover the negative pieces from the die cuts, and I'm just gonna use that to see and check the color. Now that I have ready, one of the things that you're gonna need is gonna be quite a bit of paper towel on the side. All we're gonna do is we're gonna dip the tags into the mixture of the water with the watercolor, in this case liquid watercolor, and you can dip them the whole thing. You can dip just 1/4 of the tag. It is completely up to you. The way I'm gonna show you is we're gonna have fun with the dip, and what I mean by that is I'm gonna dip it at least 3 times. You can dip it as many times as you want to. I'm gonna say 3 to 4 is the best number, just because that's how much the watercolor paper is gonna resist, and it's gonna sustain the water. And if you go any more than that, you're just gonna weaken the paper, and that's one of the reasons why you're gonna need good watercolor paper. So you see right now, all I did is I dip my tag on the liquid, the mixture with the watercolor refill, just to whatever height of the color that I want to achieve. Once I have that, I'm gonna take it out. You're gonna see that I dip it a few times, make sure that the liquid color concentrates of the paper. Then I'm gonna lift it off the water. I'm gonna make sure that I shake the excess. You're gonna see that I play with some of the water in my tag, and that's one of the things you have to realize is when you set your tag to dye, you can set it to dry flat on the table, and that's just gonna create an even distribution of the ink, or if you, in this case, you set your tag to dye vertically with the, in this case, the little tails pointing down, all the liquid watercolor is gonna sit at the bottom. And you saw that's why I actually kind of put it on top of the paper towel, so the paper towel will soak up that excess of the liquid watercolor. But if I do it the opposite way, then the line, the darker color is gonna sit on the top of the tag. So this is all about playing, and that's what I said. It's very fun. It is a little bit longer. It's a long process, but you can create quite a bit with just little drops of color. So I've worked on my green. I'm just gonna show you one, but like I said, I created quite a few of them. Now for my red, I don't want to get to red. I want to get to a pink color. So I started with ruby red. Again, this is around 1/4 cup of water. I have ruby red, but once I mix just like, I'm gonna say maybe 2 drops of it, it's too orangey. I want to get more to a pinkish tone, so I'm gonna add another drop or 2 of Rubellite. All of these are the watercolor brush marker refills, and I'm gonna make sure that I mix the color, and then I'm gonna follow the same procedure. I'm gonna bring the watercolor tags that I have cut with the Terrific Tag Die Set, and I'm just gonna dip them in the mixture of the water with the water brush marker refill, and that's how I'm gonna color my tags. Now I wanted to create silver, so I'm gonna bring the metallic silver watercolor brush marker refill, and I'm gonna mix again. I mix around 4 drops into a little bit of water. Now here's 2 things. When you're using a metallic ink or watercolor, you have to make sure that you shake it really well, because you want that little pigment, the mica powder, to actually come out, and that's what's gonna give you the metallic quality. But you're gonna see that it is not dark when I'm adding it to my watercolor paper. So I'm gonna add a few drops of Persian blue liquid refill. And that's just gonna give it a tinge of gray, kind of a purplish tone, and that's gonna help with the gray application, the silver look of the color on the tag. So just little things. Now you're gonna see I set my tags aside, they have dried, and then I'm gonna come in with my second dip. Same idea, I'm gonna use the same. I did not throw away my liquids, I kept them, and this is my second dip. And what I'm creating with this is different tones of the same color on my tag. This is when you're gonna get that deep dyed look on your tags. Again, have fun with it. You can create lines, you can create angles, you can create a lot of things. Now my idea is I want to create kind of an ombre effect on the tag. So I'm gonna make sure that when I dip the second time, I don't go all the way up to what the original beginning line of the first color. I'm gonna say maybe 3/4, a half. I just want to have that ombre effect on my tag. And because you have the 2 using watercolor paper, the color is just gonna sit right at the end of how far you dip your tag in the liquid. It's not gonna run more than that. So that's the beauty of working with watercolor paper. So you're able to create those defining lines of color on your tags. Again, this is a time that you can have fun with them. You can create angles, you can create different lines. Have fun with it. I actually enjoyed the process. This process did take me a while, and just because, like I said, I'm showing you just one of them, but I cut quite a few of them. So one of the things you gotta keep in mind is when you do the silver, make sure you shake the mixture a bit before you dip your tag. Like I said, you wanna make sure that that mica powder is mixed, that pigment is floating on the liquid. So when you dip your tag, it actually sticks to the paper, and that's gonna give you the metallic look of the silver. It's not that noticeable. So you might wanna add more silver or something that's gonna help you show the metallic look. Again, set them aside to dry. You can use your heat gun to dry them too if you want to speed up the process. I like letting them dry on its own. It just gives me time to do something else while I continue working on what I'm gonna add to them. Again, this is when I'm gonna go into my third dip, and you're gonna see how slowly, especially in the green and the pink, you're gonna see the different levels of color. As you keep adding color, it keeps deepening the color. So you're gonna go from the whiteness of the paper to a light application. It's gonna get darker as you apply the color. So Again, I'm gonna say have fun with it. You can create as many. This is a way to create, mass produce your tags. You can apply this to your cards. You can apply this to your memory keeping. Lots of ideas. Now while everything was drying, I went ahead out of the camera and I'm using the Festive Clusters Die Set, and I just got a few of the images. I got quite a few. Like I said, I'm creating Christmas cards, and I use gold glitter paper to cut all the little flowers using the Festive Clusters Die Set. All I'm gonna do with this is, the way I'm gonna build my tags is I'm gonna use one of the big tags. I'm going to use one of those little flag ones, and I'm going to glue one of the floral die cuts to the bottom right corner of the tag. That is all it's going to take. You're going to see right now I'm using my 2-in-1 glue pen from Altenew, especially because it has those fine lines, and that one, it has like the little roller ball that lets you go into those fine lines that you can attach it onto the tag. Once I have that, I'm gonna actually add a piece of trim. I'm using ribbon just to hold the tag and the flag together, and I'm gonna set it aside until everything sets, and I'm gonna continue working on the small ones. Now for the small ones, again, these are my Christmas tags. I'm gonna use the Small Moments Stamp and Die Set. My choice this time is I'm gonna emboss the little snowflake of the Small Moments stamp set. So I'm using Altenew's embossing ink and also Altenew Crisp Antique Gold embossing powder, just to create those beautiful, it's a very detailed, beautiful snowflake. So you're gonna see that I just added my powder, and I'm gonna heat it with my gun, and I'm gonna have those really shiny stars. I'm gonna use the matching die to just cut them apart, and once I have them ready, I'm gonna go in the same way that I did with the big tags. I'm just gonna glue the little snowflake to the bottom right corner of each one of the tags. You see that I use actually the one that has the tails, so I'm going to use the little flag that has the straight edge at the bottom, just so it has a little differentiation. Again, I'm gonna glue the little snowflake to the bottom right corner of the big tag, and I'm gonna tie them together, this time with twine. These are the little tags that are gonna go into the kids' presents, because they just like to rip stuff. The big ones will be to like the adults, so I have to define them in different ways. So once I have that, I need to add a sentiment. Again, the little flags that I have, that's where the names are gonna go, and I'm gonna show you. So for the small tags, I'm using the Winter Wishes stamp set, and it has these small sentiments. I'm just gonna put the word love you. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna stamp it with black obsidian ink. I'm just gonna stamp it to the left and on top of the little snowflake that I added. So one is just a small sentiment. I have a small niece and a small nephew, and they really don't care about the tag. They want the present, and I'm sure it happens the same in your house. Especially kids are very anxious to see what they get, so they don't care about the packaging. It comes with the adults that pay more attention to the packaging. So in this case, for the bigger tag, I am using the Festive Clusters stamp set, and I'm stamping the sentiment that says wishing you joy. So I'm gonna use again black obsidian ink, just because it's very crisp and it's gonna create that really dark impression on the tag, and I'm gonna stamp it on the left hand side of the tag. Now here you're gonna see how I'm gonna address my tags. I am bringing the fine liner set of pens from Altenew. I'm gonna use the brush one, and I'm just gonna write the name of my sister. Her name is Heather Tamara. So I'm just writing Heather, and that's the tag that will go onto her little present. So simple as that. I think I created around 20 of the large tags and around 25 of the small ones. I'm just gonna show you a few of them. I just worked on them until the ink completely finished, and I love that. It was a fun day to create, and I hope you try it. As always, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. I would love to help you, and have a merry Christmas, and I hope to see you next year. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye guys.
Hello crafters, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching!